I'm Sue McMahon and I'm cookery editor of Women's Weekly magazine, and I'm going to show you how to make a traditional Christmas pudding. This is actually my mum's recipe, so it's a recipe that we've had every year since I was little. It's got 750 grams of mixed dried fruit. I've bought just a packet of mixed dried fruit for this, but you can make your own selection of dried fruits as long as the weight of it adds up to 750 grams. Then 250 grams of dark muscovado sugar, 60 grams of plain flour. Now the pudding doesn't have much flour in it because it also has starch from the breadcrumbs, and there's 150 grams of white breadcrumbs, 250 grams of shredded suet, but I like a slightly lighter pudding, so I'm using the vegetarian light suet in this one, 2 medium eggs, then a tablespoon of ground mixed spice and a teaspoon of ground ginger, 200 millilitres of Guinness, and a pinch of each of bicarbonate of soda, baking powder and salt. And on Christmas Day, when you're heating the pudding, you'll also need about 6 tablespoons of brandy so that you can set a light to it. And as well as the ingredients, you need a 1 1/4 litre pudding basin, which is about 2 pints in size, and some string and some baking parchment. So to make the pudding, I'm going to mix all the dry ingredients together in a large mixing bowl. Traditionally, making of the Christmas pudding was done on Stir-Up Sunday, which is the last Sunday before Advent. And there's all sorts of traditions about making the puddings and which direction you should stir it, and the fact that everybody should stir it and make a wish. In the Women's Weekly Test Kitchen, we actually make our puddings well in advance of Christmas so that they can be photographed for the magazine. And it used to be that we had everybody from the office come in and take a turn to stir the pudding. So that's the spices, the mixed spice and the ginger. Then I'm going to stir these ingredients together. It seems like a lot of ingredients, but it does make quite a large pudding that will serve between 6 and 8 people. So once the dry ingredients are mixed, I'm going to take the Guinness and the 2 eggs, and I'm going to add just a pinch of bicarbonate, baking powder and salt, and mix those together. Then I'm going to add that to the dry ingredients. I think one of the traditions is you're supposed to stir it from east to west because the 3 kings came from the east. As I say, a lot of these traditions are folklore. So that's the pudding mixed. And I've got the basin which I've buttered. I'm going to tip the mixture in. Okay, so I'm just levelling the top of it. So now I'm ready to cook it. I need to cover it with some baking parchment. So I'm going to cut off a length of baking parchment and fold it in half. And as the pudding is going to rise during the cooking, I'm going to put a pleat in the paper because that will allow for any expansion while the pudding is cooking. And I'm going to tie this with a piece of string. So I'm pulling it as tightly as I can. And if you want to, you can tie the string over the top, so you've got a little handle to lift it up as it's cooking. And I'm going to trim away some of the excess paper. And then this is ready for steaming.